Today I'm going to show you how to make one particular meal in a jar from freeze-dried wholesaler food really easy. Best part about it is when you're ready to cook it, you just dump it in some boiling water, and in 2 minutes you got yourself a meal. So let's check it out, and I'll show you what we're going to make today when we come back. All right, folks, welcome back. So this is kind of emergency preparedness and convenience in one video. One of the reasons I like doing this is because it makes it a little bit easier if there's a power outage, a storm, whatever, any kind of emergency. You've got your meal set up right here in a jar. Now you can seal these jars up just like this, and they're good for about a year. You can drop an oxygen absorber in there. They're good for about 5 years. So all in all, it's a really convenient way to put together some easy pre-made meals. Now today what we're making is some cheesy beef macaroni and cheese, and we're going to be putting it all together very simply. Pretty much everything I'm using is freeze-dried wholesaler. Even the I don't have it out here, but the milk powder, I actually did put it in a different container. I put it in a Mylar bag because I'd opened it for something else. So that's what we're going to be using, and I think honestly, sealed up like that, I think that would probably go a lot longer than a year. But going by the standards, you know, a year without an oxygen absorber, about 5 years with one. So what I'm going to do is walk you through it. But I did want to remind you guys, there's still time to get in on that lobster pre-sale. You guys know how pre-sales work, right? You buy something and it's put together and you get it. So maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks before you actually get the item. But you're paying for it ahead of time, so he knows how much to make up ahead of time. And that is on the freeze-dried Maine lobster. Yes, I found my bag. After all that searching today, I finally found it. So it will end July 29th, okay, at midnight. So you still have time to save. You're going to save about $16 on these lobsters, and they're about 5 to 6 lobsters per pack, all in all. So it's a pretty darn good deal. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to have that link right below for freeze-dried wholesalers. You're going to follow that link. You're going to find lobster on there, okay? You're going to add it to your cart, and when you get to your shopping cart, you're going to see my discount for 15%. Well, I got a better one. So what you're going to do is put in the code MAINELOBSTER, all one word in capital, MAINELOBSTER. I will leave a link down. I will leave a thing down below so you can cut and paste it, and you will save 20%. It'll take away my 15% discount, but it'll give you 20% on Maine Lobster. So you still have time to get on that, folks, and people really took advantage of it, but I showed it the other day. I was really shocked. You guys did a really good job buying that up. But there is still a bit to pick up, so definitely check it out. That's $16 off of the pack, and it ends Saturday, July 29th, okay, at midnight. So definitely get in there. Still got a little while to save, and check it out. All right. Let's get going on this. I'm going to be using my electric burner today just for convenience out here because I got a lot of stuff out here and I didn't want to mess around with fire. And we're going to show you how I put together this pretty simply. We're going to start with these are medium-sized bell jars. These aren't the big ones. I picked these up at Walmart. I believe they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. I had to count them real quick. 12 per pack. And this is perfect size because it makes a really good individual meal. So let's get started filling this up. And then when we have it all filled up, we're actually going to make it and try it out. All right, so I got my little burner out here. I have a 1.5 cups of water. We're not going to use that yet. Of course, that's the last step. I use 1.5 cups of water for this particular recipe. So we're going to start off with a 1/2 cup of the elbow macaroni. And I had to kind of scale this down because I had it set up for individual packages, little Mylar bags, kind of like what I have the dry milk in back here. So I kind of had to scale it down because I had this all set up and I had a couple meals made up. And I'm like, bell jars are a whole lot easier. So that's what I decided to go with. So I got my 1/2 cup measure here. I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of that. Maybe a little extra. Let's see. This will be a messy video, so I've already resigned myself to having to clean up after it. There we go. Okay, so I got a 1/2 cup of cheesy macaroni in there. Now next up, we're going to do a 1/4 of a cup of the freeze-dried ground beef. Now what I like to do with this is kind of chop it up a little bit. I will reach in with my own hands. I'm eating the stuff, so I'm not worried about it. And break up the bigger chunks. That way it's a little bit easier. And some of the smaller stuff will, you just kind of grind it up with your hands like that. Like that. So, what we're going to do is put that in there. And I'm going to get that scooped out here. Okay. You get that measured out. All right. And there we go. So those are our main ingredients, okay? Now don't worry if this gets full to the top, because if you're new to working with canning jars, you just can pop it on the bottom and you see everything's kind of mixing up in there. Next up, we're going to do a 1/3 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And as you can tell, I've used quite a bit of that. So let's get that in here. And I'm just using this to scoop it out. I'm not using it to measure. A little bit more. Because you definitely want that cheese in there. There. That's about right. Okay, so now it's starting to look a little full, but again, don't worry, you're going to be just fine. All right. Now what I like to do is do 3 tablespoons of the dry milk. This will kind of add a little bit of a cheese flavor to it. Not cheese flavor, but it'll add a little creaminess to it. And then we're going to put in the cheese powder, but we're going to do this first. Okay. I had 2 tablespoons of that. Whoops. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a messy endeavor. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of the freeze-dried cheese powder. Now, yes, this is white. It's not yellow, you know, like the typical cheddar cheese, but it will work. And it'll give it a nice cheesy taste to it. And again, I'm kind of eyeballing, you know, measured it out. You guys get the idea. All right. So next on, we're going to move to what makes it taste a little bit better and add some flavor to it. Now, what I like to do is I don't want to add too many of this because then it gets to be too much, but these are diced onions. So I'm going to add just a little bit. I would say like 2 tablespoons full. I don't go nuts with it. Again, you're starting to see how, oh no, we're getting close to the top. Don't worry. I've already packed it down a little bit. As you can see, it's kind of mixed in there. The powder is really what will start coming down, as you can see it doing over here. Okay, there you go. That's all done. I'm going to add a teaspoon of minced garlic, just for taste. There we go. Okay. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of the beef bouillon, and I don't have a label on it, but it is beef bouillon. That'll bring out the beef flavor of it a little bit. 1 and, wow, that smells good. 2, this stuff smells amazing. And this, believe it or not, is dollar store. Then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, just to thicken everything up a bit. I got to get in here to get this, because it's kind of sideways. And like I said, it's going to be messy. I got to vacuum out here after one of these. There's kind of 1 and 2, kind of heaping teaspoons full. But anyway, so now you got it set up. You can stick an oxygen absorber in there. You can't pressure can them, but you can suction them out. You can just put on your lid. And if you want to kind of shake this around a bit, feel free to shake it around. And as you can tell, once you shake it around, it'll kind of take on that look. Okay. And there you go. So what we're going to do next is boil some water here. I got a 1.5 cups of water back there. And we're going to boil it, and we're going to try this out. We're going to dump it in there. Once it's boiling, let it simmer. And test it and see how it tastes. While we're waiting for the water to boil and it's almost ready, I just wanted to show you, when you do shake this up, you see how much extra room you'll have in there. Basically what I've done is mix everything together. Now I really don't need to add anything more to this, because if you do, it'll get to be too heavy. Especially be careful with this. The beef bouillon, it can make it very salty, so add that to taste almost. I know what I like, so I said, you know, a teaspoon of it. 1 teaspoon, a teaspoon and a half of it, because I know it won't be that bad. But as you can tell, it gets pretty well mixed up in there. And then you can label it, you know, date it, whatever. I would definitely have room for an oxygen absorber in there, and I see we're boiling, so as you can tell, I definitely have room for an oxygen absorber in there. So there we go. We got boiling water. I'm going to put this in, let it boil for a little bit, but we want to mix it up good, okay? And I'm just going to let that boil for a little tiny bit. Keep an eye on it so it doesn't overflow. We're going to let that boil up for a little bit, and then we're going to just turn it off and let it simmer. I would say give it about 10 minutes and you'll be good to go. So I'll bring you back when it's completely finished and done. All right, so I gave it about 10 minutes or so, and it seems to have thickened up nicely. Remember, I did turn it off. You don't want to let this boil over and spill everywhere, because if you do leave it on, it will. So that's what we got. Take a look at that. Let's put some in this bowl here. and try it out. I'll tell you one thing, this is a really quick way to, ooh, that's hot. Quick way to hydrate your food, because this really works well. So let's take a look at it. There's a little scoop of it there. Let's try it out. Man, that is delicious. That came out awesome, nice and thick and creamy. Just like regular mac and cheese, but you have a little bit of taste of the garlic, a little bit of the bouillon, and a whole lot of cheese and good stuff in there. And the longer you let this sit, the thicker it'll get. Now, I'm going to come up with some more of these types of meals probably next month sometime. Right now, I'm buried in reviews. I got a ton of stuff to show you guys. So I'm going to come up with some more of these sometime later next month. And I just thought you guys might be interested. If you're interested in buying any of this stuff to put together something like this, don't forget to use my link. My link will save you 15% on all this. If you're buying the lobster, you want to use that code MAINELOBSTER. I would suggest separating the orders. I would do this as a pre-order. Use the code MAINELOBSTER. Use my link, but use the code MAINELOBSTER when you check out. And then go back and buy whatever else you want using my 15% link, because the MAINELOBSTER code won't work for anything like this. It'll just work for the lobster. So definitely worth trying out. The link's down below. Definitely check it out. Below that, we should have our Amazon affiliate link there. If you guys aren't interested in anything in the store, just click the link. Shop as you normally would. We really do appreciate when you do that. It costs you nothing to do. It's a nice way to say thanks. Just shop with that link. I do keep all the stuff that I review in the store. Things like, stoves and silverware, stuff like that. But definitely check it out. Below that is our My Patriot Supply link. That's preparewithiridium.com, preparewithiridium.com. Getting close to the end of the month. We got an amazing deal there. You can pick up $80 off a 4-week food kit. All right, that's 2 buckets of food, 2,000 calories a day, 25-year shelf life, 16 different varieties, under $200. $80 off on it. So you're definitely going to get a good deal on that one. Check it out. That's preparewithiridium.com. And of course, our Thrive Life freeze-dried food store. And again, any of this stuff can be done with Thrive Food too. Anyway, folks, I thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.